life by you.
Hey everyone, welcome to Best Life by You, the podcast dedicated to helping you overcome challenges around nutrition, mindset, training, relationships, and well, all of the above. I'm your host, Julia, and today we are going to take a deep dive into learning about micronutrients, vitamins. It's not going to be as deep as, a whole research book would be, but I do want to go ahead and cover some topics like what are micronutrients. We'll talk about vitamins, minerals, and just go through all of that because people have come to me asking me questions about the importance of micronutrients, and especially with my app, listing macros versus micros and just really breaking all of that down. So we talk a lot already about macros or protein, carbs, and fats. We talk about calorie targets. We talk about, the importance of training, moving your body. And there is a massive world running underneath all of that, and a world that dictates how much energy you actually have, how well you recover, and how clear your brain feels. And all of that is micronutrients. You talk vitamins and minerals. People do not focus enough on the micronutrients, so that is where a lot of people fall short with health issues, as I had said, recovery, etc. So it seems like everybody is looking for optimal health in a capsule, a powder, or a gummy. And if you walk down the supplement aisle and the labels make bold promises like instant energy, immune shield, metabolic fire, all of that is about branding. So there is one product I 100% believe in, that covers all that we'll get into a little bit later, that is actually real nutrition. So there's a fundamental disconnect between how our bodies process a whole food and how they handle an isolated supplement. So I do want to go ahead today and spend time going behind the curtain. We'll break down the actual education behind nutrition versus supplement labels, define what micronutrients actually do, and map out exactly why your body craves the real deal over a synthetic copy. So before I go ahead and do that, I want to just give a brief overview about a nutrition label and a supplement label. So when you're looking at a nutrition label, so just a brief overview of nutrition label or nutrition facts versus a supplement label. So anything that has nutrition facts panel, it guides daily caloric and macronutrient intake and is 100% food. So the FDA regulates all of these very, very closely. They recognize it as safe, whereas, and nutrition facts focuses on macronutrients, the calories, fat, cholesterol, sodium, carbs, protein, and a standard set of core micronutrients like vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. And it strictly requires listing zero amounts if a nutrient is absent. So when you're looking at a nutrition facts, it is the real deal. It is real food. So a product that I 100% support is Juice Plus, just because those capsules are whole foods. I mean, it's one of the most researched, companies out there, and there's a lot of benefits behind taking it. It covers your fruits, berries, veggies, all in capsules, and just so oxidation doesn't break it down. Like if it's in a container, like a lot of supplements are, it's going to oxidize a lot faster. And yeah, the nutrients are still there, but they're not going to be as top quality as the items that are in capsules or that have those single packages. So I usually opt in to the single serving packages. But anyway, so Juice Plus is something I 100% support just because it is a nutrition fact. It has a nutrition fact label, and it's also NSF certified, which I'll get into a little bit later. Now, if you're looking at supplement facts or supplement labels, that's found typically on vitamins, minerals, herbs, and amino acids. And these are categorized as dietary supplements. So meaning the FDA does not evaluate them for safety or efficacy before they hit the market. So there are a lot of companies out there that have supplement labels on ingredients, but they the supplements don't actually contain everything that's listed in the product. Unfortunately, they can hide items. They don't have to write the exact amount. So that is where nutrition facts are so important, and the nutrition label is so important. So, again, why I 100% support, Juice Plus. The other thing is there are very high reputable brands like Garden of Life, Thorne, because those are at NSF certified and have that third-party certification, and it's a very reputable source. And working with professional athletes, they have to have sources that are the best and NSF certified. So start looking for that little symbol when you go and look at products to see if it has that. But always, the real food is going to be better when you're trying to get as many nutrients in as possible. I also tell people to say for berries, for example, I always recommend buying the frozen ones rather than not. So usually I recommend frozen berries over fresh ones. I mean, both are wonderful, so don't feel like you have to stick with one or the other. It's just when it comes to frozen, it's picked, cleaned, and packed, and then frozen, right? And that is it. Where the other one, there's a little bit further more of a process. It's cleaned off. Sometimes they're using pesticides on it. So I recommend buying organic with certain fruits and vegetables. Bananas that have a casing on it, you don't need to technically buy organic for that. I personally don't. I just use the regular brands. But you can also always, if you're nervous about pesticides, what I do is I soak my fruits and veggies in baking soda and water, and voila. You don't need to go to the store and buy those cleaning products that say clean your fruit. Grab 99-cent baking soda and just let the fruit sit. Let it soak, let the berries soak, let your everything soak, and that'll help over time. So I would recommend, those are just some things I recommend, and just like a little brief introduction of nutrition facts versus supplement facts, FDA regulation for nutrition facts, and it's real food that you're looking at. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about what micronutrients are. So micronutrients, we're looking at vitamins versus minerals. So micronutrients, if you're thinking about it, your body is performing like a high performance vehicle. You have the carbs, proteins, and fats. The macros are the fuel in the gas tank. So think of your body like a high performance vehicle. You got the carbs, proteins, and fats, and those are the macronutrients. They are the fuel in the gas tank and the physical metal building the car. You need them in large amounts, or we like to call it grams. Micronutrients, on the other hand, are measured in milligrams or micrograms. They don't provide direct caloric energy. So eating a spoonful of vitamins won't give your muscles fuel to move. Instead, think of micronutrients as the spark plugs the oil and the brake fluid when you're working or building or using a car. Without them, you can put all the gas into the tank you want, but the engine won't turn over and the car isn't going anywhere. So let's clear up a piece of vocabulary that confuses a lot of people. So you often hear the words micronutrients and minerals thrown around interchangeably, but they are not the same thing. Micronutrients is the big umbrella category. It literally just means small nutrients. Underneath the big micronutrient umbrella, we have two distinct, completely separate families: vitamins and minerals. So vitamins are organic substances, meaning they are created by living things, plants or animals. They are complex, fragile molecular structures that can be broken down by heat, air, light, or acid. This is why how we cook, chop, and store food actually impacts its nutritional value. Vitamins generally act as coenzymes. In plain English, they are just the assistants that turn on the chemical reactions in your body. So want to convert that carbohydrate you just ate into ATP or energy? You need B vitamins to act as a spark. Want to build collagen to repair your joints after a heavy lifting session? Vitamin C has to be in the room, which, by the way, if you didn't know, red bell peppers or bell peppers are higher in vitamin C than oranges. So you're welcome. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive into two different camps. So water-soluble is the B complex and vitamin C. These dissolve in water, meaning your body takes what it needs right now and flushes out the excess into your urine. You cannot store them long term, so you need a consistent daily intake of them. Whereas fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, require dietary fat to be absorbed through your gut wall. Because they dissolve in fat, your body can store these in the liver and fatty tissues for a rainy day. And now you're looking at the foundation and minerals. And so I know I'm bouncing everywhere, so let me pause for a second. If you want more information about vitamins, fat-soluble versus water-soluble, you guys can read it in my book, The 7+ Lifestyle, where I break everything down. So now you're looking at the foundation, which are minerals, right? So they are completely inorganic. They do not come from living organisms. They come from the earth, the soil, the rocks, and the water. Because they are elemental, they hold their chemical structure completely. Heat won't dissolve a mineral. If you take a piece of broccoli and burn it down to ash in a furnace, the vitamins are completely destroyed, but the minerals, which is the calcium, the magnesium, and iron, remain perfectly intact in the ash. Plants absorb these minerals from the soil, and we eat the plants. Plants handle the structural and fluid balance of your body. They ensure your heart beats on time, your muscles contract properly, your nerves fire, and your bones stay dense. So we split the mineral family into two groups based on how much your body requires. So you have macro minerals and trace minerals. Macro minerals are elements you need in larger amounts. That's like calcium, magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, and sodium. Trace minerals are elements you need in tiny fractions, like zinc, selenium, copper, iodine, and iron. Okay. Now I want to address a huge question that hits my inbox every week. Can you actually get a complete high-performance spectrum of micronutrients on a purely plant-based protocol? Absolutely, you can. As someone who has had perfect blood work besides living in mold, but now has perfect blood work, you absolutely 100% can get it all from food. You just have to be smart in how you go about it. And especially someone who goes plant-based, that's not part of the typical diet or the standard American diet, so it does require a little bit more work. So just some examples, as we talked about the water-soluble vitamins earlier, some good ways to get your B1, your B2, B3, B5, B6. One, you could just take a freaking multivitamin. You can go ahead and do that because guess what? People who eat meat take that vitamin as well. I highly recommend doing it, but if you are looking for just whole food sources, you can get it from sunflower seeds, green peas, lentils, almonds, mushrooms, fortified foods, peanuts. You can get it from avocados, shiitake mushrooms, chickpeas, pistachios, walnuts, oats, edamames, lentils, leafy greens. You can get it from tofu, fortified nutritional yeast, fortified plant milks, or like I said, just a dang supplement. It's that easy. You don't have to go crazy eating all of these to cover all your vitamins. But if you do have a very diverse plant-based diet, more than likely 9 times out of 10, you're going to get this all in anyway. So I wanted to just clarify that for the water soluble. Even vitamin C, like I said, the bell peppers are the best of the best. Bell peppers have double the vitamin C of citrus. So y'all need to start including your vitamin C as much as you can. So the other part of it that people tend to focus on and harp on about vegans, right? Plant-based people is the B12 issue. They're like, well, vegans have to take a B12. They don't have a complex diet. They can't get everything because of B12, But nowadays, guess what? 99.99% of people in the world, meat eaters, non-meat eaters, need a supplement. So B12 can be found in nutritional yeast. Funny enough, I went for blood work. I used to take a B12 supplement once a week. My B12 levels were through the roof. And my doctor said, how much B12 are you taking? And I said, well, I'm vegan. I take it once a week. And she said, you need to start taking it once a month. But the issue became, I have nutritional yeast almost every single day, and I have my fortified plant-based milks. So I did not need a B12 supplement. So moving forward, I don't necessarily need it. Now, the thing is, with water soluble, you're just going to pee out whatever you don't use. So even though I have I'll take a B complex. I usually do a B complex, even though I already have a diverse diet, but you will pee out whatever, again, you do not use. So please just pause, think about that for a second, and just know that you can absolutely get enough on a plant-based diet. Now we're looking at the fat-soluble vitamins. So that's vitamin A, D, E, and K, and that's K1 and K2. So you have tons of natural sources for that. I mean, you have sweet potatoes for vitamin A, and just remember your body converts beta carotene into active vitamin A. So if you're looking at the sweet potatoes, the orange, the pumpkins, dark leafy greens, those things are going to help with immune cell deployment and cellular growth. Like I said, there's so many benefits behind all of them, like vitamin D. A lot of people, instead of sunlight, they go ahead and just take a vitamin D3 supplement, which you want to take with a K2 to help with the activation. Now, for people who struggle with osteoporosis, if they're not lifting weights and they're having a lot of dairy, I would recommend lowering your dairy intake and focusing on having more vitamin D foods. As I had said, you can go ahead and, one, get it from the sun. You can take a supplement, or you can go ahead and have some portobello mushrooms because they are wonderful for vitamin D, covering that basis. And then, as I said, whenever you're taking vitamin D3, you want to make sure you're having K2 as well, just because K2 directs calcium out of your bone vessel, out of your blood vessels, and into your bones where it belongs. So that's something else you could think of. Always having fermented foods too, like K2 has, it's fermented. You can go ahead and have some sources like fermented soy, as that's probably the highest plant source that you can have with the K2. Again, you don't necessarily have to follow that, but I'm just saying that's something to keep in mind. So when you're looking at minerals, as I had gone through all of these, the biggest ones that people struggle with and get nervous about is calcium. So calcium can be found in tofu, fortified plant milks, figs, and tahini is one of my favorites. If you're nervous about calcium, you can go ahead and just get it from tons of plant-based sources and get plenty of calcium. Then you have magnesium. At night, I typically say take magnesium bisglycinate because it helps relax muscles, manage cortisol, stabilize sleep. If you don't feel like taking a supplement, you can go ahead and get it from dark chocolate, hemp seeds, Swiss chard, almonds, and papitas, pumpkin seeds. So another one I do want to focus on is selenium as well. That converts inactive thyroid hormone T4 to active T3. That is a potent cellular antioxidant. So a lot of people get nervous about oh my gosh, I'm going to be sick. I'm going to get sick, da, 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 da. So if you're nervous about that, what I typically recommend some plant-based sources for zinc. You can have pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, lentils, cashews, chickpeas, which I typically have on a daily basis. But I also do take a supplement. So aside from just that, I do take a supplement because for the most part, it keeps me healthy. But the other supplements, guys, you can go ahead and just get in a multivitamin. You don't need to worry about covering all bases with food, but it's just to have awareness of the importance of it. So the one I really wanted to spend a lot of time talking about is iron. This is something a lot of females are deficient in. Iron is a trace mineral, but it carries massive weight. It is the core element of hemoglobin, which is a protein in your red blood cells that grabs oxygen from your lungs and delivers it to your brain and working muscles. So if your iron drops, your VO2 max drops, your cellular energy drops, your endurance evaporates, and you hit a wall of chronic heavy fatigue. So when you look at that, and I'm sure plenty of you listening have gone through that, the iron deficiency anemia is one of the most widespread nutritional deficiencies in the world, and it targets biological females, especially female athletes. So people ask, why are females uniquely prone to iron deficiency? And it comes down to a perfect storm of biology and metabolic demand. So one, menstruation. So the monthly loss, biological females lose iron every single month through blood loss during menstruation. While a male athlete's iron loop is relatively closed and recycled, a female athlete is consistently losing iron that must be aggressively replaced throughout the diet. The impact of high intensity training for this, When athletes run or jump hard, the physical impact can actually rupture red blood cells in the feet. Another thing that can be considered is low energy availability. So many female athletes unconsciously or consciously undereat relative to their training volume. When total food intake drops, micronutrient intake drops, making it impossible to keep up with the monthly iron losses. Since I am a plant-based athlete and nutritionist, what I typically recommend for people who are following a plant-based diet is to make sure they have a lot of iron in their diet, like lentils, chickpeas, tofu, pumpkin seeds, fortified cereals, and also blackstrap molasses has a lot of iron in it. I typically have that every single day, and I pair it with vitamin C. So I'll pair it with lemon. I'll have red bell peppers. And you can just throw it into a smoothie, throw it with dark leafy greens. And overall, someone who's been vegan, I used to be anemic prior to being vegan, and now I'm no longer anemic, which is funny, how that works. But it's also probably I've increased my awareness and intake of food a lot more. Just wanted to say that there. I want to also talk about bioavailability. So this brings us to the golden rule of nutrition education. It's not necessarily about what you consume, it's about what you absorb. So this is known as bioavailability. So unfortunately, supplement companies love to put massive numbers on the label because big numbers sell. But many synthetic vitamins use the cheapest, most stable chemical forms to extend shelf life. For example, many cheap magnesium supplements use magnesium oxide. It looks great on the cover, but its absorption rate in the human gut is notoriously low, often honestly less than 10%. So the rest just irritates your digestive tract. So when you flood your system with massive isolated dose of one single micronutrient via a supplement, you can inadvertently create a deficiency in another. Why? Because nutrients complete for pathways. A massive dose of isolated zinc can block your body's ability to absorb copper. Nature doesn't pack nutrients in isolation because that's not how the body's machinery prefers to receive them. That is also why myself and a lot of nutritionists out there are not fans of IV drips. IV drips at the hospital, if you are struggling with hydration or whatnot, but when you're getting that plugged into your blood vessels directly and your body directly, it is very hard for your body to naturally decide where it's going to go, how it's going to be used when it's forced upon the body. So I am not a fan of IV drips. I'm not a fan of somebody who, I don't promote it. Yeah, you might feel good quickly, but it's not a natural way for your body to break down those vitamins. So what I would like you guys to think about is the supplement label and what you actually have. I'm not opposed to NSF certification, nutrition labels or vitamins or minerals. Again, I get pretty much what I personally take is Juice Plus every day because it has all your fruits, veggies, and berries in one, which covers so many nutrients already. I also take a D3K2 supplement, and right now I'm taking a B complex. I don't usually take a B complex, but I decided I wanted to see how my body felt with the B complex, and it does give you more energy. And then I take omegas. So this is an NSF certified one. It's plant-based omega from Juice Plus as well, where it covers all your bases. Because I can get omegas. I eat tons of walnuts, where you can cover all bases with omegas. But for me, I don't always get walnuts in every day, so I do take those just to cover all bases. So usually what I recommend to people on the daily basis, I'll recommend Juice Plus. If not, you're taking an NSF approved multivitamin. You do not need an iron supplement. I usually recommend plant-based omegas because the fish eat the algae and then people eat the fish. So instead of eating the middleman, what I typically recommend is why don't we just have the algae where the fish get their omegas from? That's where it comes from. I honestly recommend just having the algae form supplement of it. That's usually your best way to get the ALA, DHA, and EPA, all three of those for the omegas covered. And the other aspects, I would say, and magnesium bisglycinate. Another NSF one. Go ahead and take that at night just to help calm the body. Zinc is optional, especially if you're getting a well-diverse diet. You can go ahead and look up all the nutrients I said today just to make sure you're covering all bases. But I really do want to highlight once again, like the third-party testing, because unlike prescription drugs, supplements are not strictly pre-approved by the regulatory bodies for efficiency. This is why, like I've been talking about NSF and third-party testing. Please make sure that it says on the cover NSF, USP, or consumer labs certified, because then that shows that it was checked by third-party organizations and it actually contains the ingredients listed on the label and is free from harmful contaminants or heavy metals. So if your products do not say that, highly recommend just look for NSF labels, USP, or consumer lab for third-party testing. So one of the last things I want to go ahead and cover is the proprietary blends. So if you see like proprietary blend or performance matrix, just be cautious. This allows a company to list a bunch of high quality ingredients on the label without telling you exactly how much of it is in each ingredient. How much of each ingredient is actually inside. Usually it means they put on a tiny ineffective dusting of the expensive stuff and fill the rest with cheap fillers. So you want total transparency, every ingredient listed with its exact milligram or microgram weight. So again, I recommend Choose Plus because it has those nutrition labels, it has the nutrition facts. But again, if you're going for a supplement, which again, I do take supplements, just make sure it says NSF or those things that I said earlier. So just to wrap it all up today, think of your daily nutrition as the foundation of your house. You cannot build a strong foundation of pills and powders. Whole, unrefined foods provide the biological context, the fiber, the water, and the natural energy in your cells that they expect. Build your daily routine around a diverse, colorful spectrum of whole foods. Eat the rainbow, focus on nutrient density, take care of your gut so you can actually absorb what you eat. And a happy gut is, again, high fiber. High fiber equals a healthy gut. I'm not saying to go load up your plate right now with 25 to 30 grams of fiber if you're used to eating 5 a day. I mean, slowly increase just so you guys can get a healthier gut overall. Then and only then use high quality, transparent, third-party tested supplements to fill in the specific gaps to optimize for your specific performance goals. Supplementation should be the elegant polish on an already stellar nutrition strategy, not the rescue mission for a poor diet. So if you have any questions, guys, because I know this was a lot I just threw on you. I was going through my notes and just trying to cover like the basis of what I could. So if you have any questions, please do book a call with me. I have nutrition strategy success calls, which clients get a lot of benefit from. You can also download my app. It is available for purchase. You can either get the monthly membership, or you can get the monthly membership plus coaching, where you get your questions answered. But these are things to just pay attention to. One more thing I want to add: when you're looking at nutrition labels or supplement labels, they're going to list out, like NSF, they're going to list out the actual percentages of what you need. So do not go crazy as a human, an average human, trying to fulfill every single gap. Don't worry about it. If it's on an approved supplement, it's going to have the exact amount you need. Just make sure, like I said, it's third party tested. So again, if you need help reading a nutrition label, supplement label, you want to hop on a call, please do message me and we can set that up. Other than that, guys, continue to keep living your best life, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Best Life by You podcast with yours truly. I hope you go ahead and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and stay up to date with all the latest information. You can also follow me on Instagram at Julia_BestLifeByYou for more humor, podcast information, and all the above. I hope to see you soon, and let's continue to keep living your best life.